And we are live once again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Average Jays. This is Jay, Justin Ruiz.
And this is Jay, Jaromir Francois.
As you could probably already tell, we've upgraded. We sound way better. We have worked out some kinks. It's a growing pain, but hopefully, you guys will stick around and grow with us.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's
we didn't
just
get
we're
canceled.
learning as we go.
Episode 2.
Episode two, we're
Imagine.
still going strong. We actually, I think at this point, we've hit what was the how many episodes did the Inhumans go for? You remember?
Oh, I do not. If I
I
did know,
think
that
it
means I
was
watched it.
I think it was 2 episodes. So we're now tied with Marvel, with a Marvel show,
Oh,
to be honest.
yeah, a
We
Marvel
haven't
show
gotten
on
canceled.
ABC.
We haven't gotten canceled yet. So
Hey,
we're pretty up there.
at least it's not like The Cape on NBC.
They went
I think
long,
they got.
right? Didn't that go for a while?
I
My
think it was
dad used to
pretty
watch
short.
that show like religiously.
I want to say 3 episodes, but I could be dramatic.
No way.
But I'm just gassing it right now.
So I guess so where are we right now in the world, right? So it's August 26th in the year of our Lord 2021. Um and recently we've been looking at the interwebs and seeing the crate challenge. This
Yeah.
is like
Mm-mm.
it is just like the easiest way to kill yourself, I feel, or at least hurt yourself really really easily.
Yes, I would say the first part. Kill yourself is a little much. That's just, but it can happen. I won't say it won't happen. It can happen.
It's
Um,
just that I don't get it.
it's sad. Like I'm sad to say that I'm saying those two words in the same sentence. Crate challenge, and it's nothing
It's
cool or positive. It's not like the challenge we did back a few years ago about the what we were.
You talking about like the ice
First,
bucket challenge, which was
yeah,
like
like
for
that. It was,
charity.
yeah, it
Like
was
that
actually
was not a
something.
few years ago. That was a long. Like we're talking, dude. We were still in college.
No,
I think that was senior
I
year
think
of
we
college.
graduated.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because I remember it being like the summer, and we just
I don't think so because it was. I'm almost. You know what it is? It was the summer.
but
It was the
before.
summer of junior year, right after junior year,
Okay.
before senior year, because I had just met my now wife Erica.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But yes, it. This is crazy. It was taking the internet by storm, and I saw one, and I was like, okay, this is funny, haha. And then I know everyone's feed is just going through, and what I was focusing on is where they're putting the crates. Some of them on concrete, some of them on the grass, which grass is lumpy, so obviously someone's falling.
Yeah, but it's softer than concrete.
Yeah, but you're falling on the crates. It doesn't matter.
I guess.
I've se- I saw some dude hit his head and just sat there, and I'm like, why
Because
is
you
this
gotta feel
happening?
stupid. Like you have to know, unless you are a very agile person, like it's not gonna go well. I
Yeah,
just don't understand that. I've never felt the need to do anything on a crate besides sit on it.
that or
Like, why are you
carry
gonna
milk.
make? Why are you gonna like actually? And then the other thing is like, where are people getting these crates? I've
Oh,
not
I didn't
seen
think
these
of
crates in years.
that.
Years. I have not seen these crates, and now out of nowhere, they got to be like getting it at like corner stores and stuff, right? Because where
Yeah, they
else are
have
you
to.
getting those?
They have to.
Like I've never seen a layperson, a layman, with just
Yeah,
more than one. We're talking like
yeah,
how many? You need 20 of those to make
yeah.
that the little steps. There's a lot of
Minimum,
crates there. Like, where are you getting these?
and you
Unless
don't
you
just
work
buy
like
those.
yeah, unless you work in like a what you call it, like an elementary school cafeteria, they're not readily
Literally,
available.
just gonna say that because that's still the last time I've seen something like that. Like I went through high school, I never seen it. Um, I- they use it for basketball hoops, but those have holes in it. So where are you getting them?
I just don't understand.
I'll tell you one positive thing about the crate challenge: recycling, because that would have ended up in a landfill. At least we're
I mean,
using it.
I mean, but you got to think about in what let's be generous. Let's give it a full month. After a month and this dies down, there's going to be landfills like all the way to the brim with people's crates.
Okay.
Like crates
You
that
know
would have
what?
maybe served a function somewhere are now just like a floating garbage island of itself. It's just going to be a bajillion crates. It's just
All
like
right. I can see that, but I'm gonna one up that. Hopefully, there is a messiah of crates that decides to collect it and recycle it for the good of humanity and not for the stupid part. I don't know
see
how to say
that's just that's on
that.
like a Captain Planet level. Like that's a real eco warrior like out
Yeah,
there just trying to save the world. And you know what? I'm not that person, but I hope there
yeah,
is a person like that.
yeah.
Literally
I'm gonna
coming
put
up
that.
behind these videos, picking up the crates, be like, I can give these the correct home. Like I know
I
what to
would
do
love
with
to
these.
see Don Cheadle just come in and do that. And I don't know how far we can curse. We'll figure it out as more episodes come on. But I want him to come in, curse, turn people into trees, or turn crates into trees. You know, whatever.
There's
And
got to
yeah,
be like a way to convert plastic into trees, right? We could do that. That sounds right.
no, there is. Well, a while back, and I feel like you've seen this. Um, there was a woman in Africa. I want to say Africa, but I'll have to go back and check. But she was able to make brick houses. I think it was out of some sort of plastic material that is a lot stronger than brick, and I think you can
Yeah, I saw that.
withstand hurricanes. So I was like, all right. So
I
if we do
remember
something
seeing
like
that.
that,
I think she used like milk cartons, not cartons, but like jugs, something like that. But I remember seeing that on the interwebs a couple
yeah.
years back. Um,
But yeah,
but I mean,
so
yeah, it's a crazy thing. I don't think I get it. This is probably one of the first things as an adult where I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I just don't get these kids, man. I just don't
and
understand
they're
them.
not kids. They're not
And that's
kids.
I
We
guess
could
like
say
that's the sad
kids.
part. There's a lot of grown adults, grown ass adults just busting their faces on these crates, man. And it's so it like they get to the top and I'm like, all right, cool. And then
Yeah,
they wobble. It's just that little wobble, and then it's just
yeah,
they're taking a corner to the face. Could you
yeah.
imagine that
No,
corner of a crate into your face, like into your facial cavity? Like
that
that
sounds
would
like death.
just I feel like that would just
You're
explode my nose. Like just like it just
and
be gone.
I kind of want to bring it back to why people are doing this. I've heard random stuff, but specifically the common denominator is money. You make it
What do you mean?
across. So I know one of them. I think I don't know. You can either
Oh,
cat
so
like
you get like a prize for finishing
yes,
this?
yes. So you got a group of people watching you, and they bet money. The money goes to the winner who does it.
Hmm.
So let's say you complete it. I remember the first video I saw, the woman, she did the whole thing. She was running around. She was like, give me the money. And then it kind of like cuts and you see
Hmm.
with money in her hand. So a lot of people are doing it. And then I would see like people like cash at me the money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so it's for money. So it's not like you're just doing it. At least there's a reason. If they were just doing it, then
I
that's
mean, but like, can't you find something else to bet on? You know what I mean? I feel like there's
you're
like
not wrong.
instead of like putting yourself in harm's way unnecessarily, can't you
Yeah.
guys just bet on like I don't know, like a TV show that you're watching? Be like, oh, how many times are gonna say the word "and" in this episode?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the same level of excitement that you're getting. Like only one person is really truly benefiting from this experience, and that's if they are able to
Take it.
finish the challenge. Like
Exactly.
if not, everyone's day is terrible. Like
Yeah.
it's like would you rather win the let's say $200 or bust your face and have to go to the hospital? Like
And pay more than $200.
yeah, and definitely pay way more than $200. I just
Well,
don't
I
get
know
it,
my
man.
answer. Well, we it was in a sense like if we're looking at a chart, it was taking the internet by storm, but something else saved the day. and you know what it is. Yes.
Spider Man.
If yeah, I was just gonna say, just his gesturing, he's opening his like button shirt. If you watch the
See
video,
the
you'll see it.
people, yeah, the people that watch the videos on top of listening to the podcast will definitely be able to see that. But anyway,
You guys are
yes,
cool.
I opened my proverbial shirt. I know it's not the correct thing, but I mean, Peter Parker definitely rips open his shirt a couple times. It's more of a
I
Superman thing.
All superheroes rip off their clothes at some point in time.
But anyway, yes, the mic has been dropped. The challenge has been ushered in. The universe has been granted this beautiful masterpiece, and yet it is just the tip of the iceberg. It is just the tippy
Literally.
tippy tip. It's a teaser trailer. We don't even have a full trailer yet. And I don't know if you saw this, but Tom Holland actually commented and was like, "That's nothing."
Yeah. He
He
says you're not
said,
even ready.
he went on record and said, "F all y'all. You don't know what's happening. I
Literally
hate
what he
you.
said.
This is garbage because this is not even half of a percent of the movie." So there's very clearly a bajillion rumors flying around. With the only two that we kind of got like confirmation on, like villain wise, were definitely Doc Ock because he's literally like, "Hey, what's up, man? How you
Like you
doing?"
see his face.
Yeah, and then Green Goblin, like that's you see the pumpkin bomb kind of like roll into view, and it's like, oh snap, only one person throws that. So, and I saw a side by side comparison from Spider-Man One to this one, and it's
Hmm.
the exact same design for the pumpkin bomb. I mean,
Yeah.
they can always throw like a curveball, and it could be like, I don't know, like Hobgoblin or like James Franco. I mean, I don't think he
I
has
was
any
hoping you
work
didn't say
coming
that,
his
but you kind
way,
of threw that in the universe. But let's hopefully they
or
don't.
even God forbid, that other goblin that
We
was
don't
in
want that.
Amazing Spider-Man. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, and then there's like we saw like a couple lightning strikes, and we're like, oh snap, it's Electro. And then we saw like a little bit of a sandstorm looking thing, so we're like, oh snap, it's Sandman. And then we saw Spider-Man turn his head, and everyone immediately was like, oh, that's the lizard.
yeah, but people are
Did you
saying other things too.
like the the only difference I've seen is in that one frame when he turns around and there's like a little dark area there. It's like people are either saying it's Lizard, Mysterio, or Venom. So I haven't heard anything else in terms of villains, like with
Yeah,
like the Sinister Six guys. Um, I don't know. I was super scared for this trailer, and the fact that it came out and did the thing, like it really was like, oh, you talking about the multiverse now? Okay, we'll show you what's the multiverse is all about. And they did it, and they did it, and they did the thing, and they're making
yeah.
everyone go freaking wild. And we can't wait. I mean, what is it? It comes out in December, right?
December. We got time. We got time.
Yeah, we got time, but I can't wait. Like that wasn't enough for me. I'm not
Oh
satisfied.
no, yeah. For
I
those
need more.
listening, these are strong rumors. These aren't like it's confirmed or not confirmed. This is just strong rumors, so it hasn't been confirmed.
Yep.
So I saw the trailer or the teaser trailer rather, and I was just like, snap. And I said to myself, I want to see Toby. But then I was just like, it's a teaser trailer. If they did that, I would have been upset. I'll wait for the trailer. And
Yeah.
you know me, Justin. I like to watch one trailer and then that's it. This is the
Yeah.
teaser trailer, so I don't count it. So
Hmm.
trailer one, when it drops, I'm gonna watch it maybe 3 million times, take all the details, all the pixels into my brain mind and accept it. But I want Toby and I want Garfield. And you know what? Throw Batman if you want to. I want Michael Keaton. I want everybody in this.
I almost threw up out of pure happiness when the trailer dropped, and I very, 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 very like seriously considered going through like frame by frame
Hmm.
the trailer, and
It's
then I
funny.
was
We had
like,
the
you know
same
what?
feeling.
I was like, I'm not gonna do that to myself. I was like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. It's just a teaser. I was like, when the full trailer comes out and it's triple the length of this, I'll take triple the amount of time and I'll go through each and every frame and I'll see what I could find. Um, like I don't know. It sucks because my expectations are so freaking high for this film,
Yeah.
It is. There's so much room for them to just mess up. Like
Hmm.
we cannot forget that the previous Spider-Man, like I guess sagas, right? They've all fallen apart because they wanted to do too much. And now this one here is doing the absolute most, right? We thought like, back in Toby's day, we are like, oh, three villains in one movie? That's crazy. And then Andrew Garfield came along and we were like, oh, they're setting up the Sinister Six. That's kind of early, right? And now Tom Holland comes along and we're like, oh, snap, we're talking about literally the future of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it's hanging
Yeah.
on this film. Like we're talking about Doctor Strange is getting the multiverse involved. There's possible like timeline implications with Loki and like
Hmm.
WandaVision. All these things are tied up in this. Plus, we're talking about bringing back other Spider-Man villains and hopefully other Spider-Men. If Tobey Maguire takes that stage, takes the time to grace us with his presence, I wouldn't even freaking care if it's a
Yeah.
cameo. If he was in it for a second,
Hmm.
I would lose my freaking mind. That's it. Like
Yeah.
of course, I want him to have a full role and do a bunch of cool stuff. He would be cool as like older Spider-Man and like whatever, whatever. But if he was just in the movie just for a little bit, I'd be so happy.
I am on the same boat as you, dude. Like, and we've talked about this a while back. Like, and this is kind of like me thinking of how, if you ever remember the early parts of the TV show Flash, when Barry Allen goes to a different Earth and then he sees the other Flash that looks like his dad. Like, I would like to see like Tom Holland Spider Man see Toby and be like, "Wow, you look like Uncle Ben." Like that would be a
Yeah.
nice little thing. That's just a personal thing I would like to see.
So I'm gonna give you my pitch real quick.
Oh, go
This
ahead.
is this is this is the new
Marvel's
MCU
gonna see
Spider-Man.
this.
Spider-Man no one home. No one's home. Spider-Man no one's home. That's the fan movie. Spider-Man no one's
No
home.
one.
Okay, so we're going to start off. FYI everyone, I've given my prediction for each Spider-Man movie that has come out. So far, I've been wrong on each one, but this time I'm going to get it right. Third time's the charm. So
All
anyway,
right.
nice opening, right? It's probably that scene of Spider-Man and MJ on the roof that they showed in the trailer, and they're like, talking about the different Spider-Man powers. Blah blah blah. Blah. Fine. Further down the story, right? Ask Doctor Strange to do the whole spell thing. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and then they mess it up, right? Okay. In the mess up, I want to see kind of akin to like Into the Spider Verse, where you see the different timelines overlapping almost, and it looks like we might be getting some sort of that in what's going on in the teaser. Obviously, it's too early to tell, but I want to see things overlapping, right? I want each villain, and it looks like we're getting that too. I want each villain to have their like Terminator moment, like when the Terminator comes back to the past and it's like it just focuses on his little journey. He comes in, little ball of lightning, and then he's like, oh snap, naked guy in an alleyway. See, I want that. I want them to land on this timeline for some reason. They're looking around like, what the heck's happening? And then they have to kind of like piece it together, like, oh no, this happened. I'm here. This is a fresh start. So if they each got their own little vignette and kind of like came together, but then on top of that, see all these things that I'm saying right now are pretty feasible, right? I
So
think I
far,
think
I'm with you.
so far, right? I want Uncle Ben to come back.
And
Uncle
another one.
Ben, Uncle Ben, we've never seen Uncle Ben in the Tom Holland movies. I want Uncle Ben to come back and be one of the Spider-Men. Like I want to push it. I want him to be like
Oh, so you.
Spider-Man. I want him to be
Okay.
like Cowboy Spider-Man or something. I want him
Oh,
to be a ridiculous Spider-Man from like a crazy random timeline, and they plop him in.
so
And
like a new
Peter's like,
timeline.
yeah, something like that. And Peter's
Okay.
like, whoa, what? I want glimpses. Glimpses. I'm not talking about full movies worth. I want
Mhm.
glimpses of Spider-Man Like I want to see not only obviously Toby and Andrew
Andrew.
Garfield, but I want to see like the Sony Marvel Spider-Man, the video game one. There's no reason they
Oh,
can't include that. I need to see Into the Spider-Verse Spider-Man. I want him, if they could do something where like they show him coming out of the cartoon and then he drops down and he's like real life and it's the kid who actually voiced him. Yes.
mm,
Give me that. If I didn't get Andrew Garfield, you know who I want?
oh.
I want Emma Stone to come in as
Uh,
Spider Gwen.
that is probably the most reasonable thing you said in this pitch.
That is the only thing I would take over Andrew Garfield. If they were like, "Oh, we couldn't get Andrew Garfield; he was being a whatever," and they got Emma Stone
Mm.
to do Spider Gwen, or even you know what? If they got Haley Steinfeld who voiced Spider Gwen in the cartoon in Into the
Well,
Spider Verse,
she's already in there. She's already in
she's
the
already in there.
MCU.
She's Hawkeye's daughter, so it might be a little whatever. But give me Spider Gwen. Give me Spider. I want her to jump down, save Tom Holland, Peter Parker, and be like, dude, what the hell's going on? Give me that. Give me that. Give me all the rumored Spider-Man. Childish Gambino as Miles Morales. Give me Jake Gyllenhaal as OG Spider-Man because he was a
I'll
thing.
do you one better. Childish Gambino, not as Miles Morales, but as Peter Parker, when just to blow people's minds.
Or yeah,
Blow
give me
people.
that. Give me Black Peter Parker. I would like that.
Why
Give
not?
me all of the rumors, everything. I want this movie to assault my sense of vision with so many things on screen happening at once. I want it to almost be I want it to almost not make sense. That's how crazy I want this to get. I want it to be somewhere in between. You remember when like Inception came out and everyone was like, "Oh, was it a dream? Is it not a dream?" Like
You want it to be like that
I want it to be that level of confusion. Like I want it
to
to be like, "Oh,
yourself or to the
what
movie.
to everything." I want to walk out of there. I want to walk out of there and be like, "Did I just trip acid? Like, did I really just see all of those colors? Did they just invent a new color that I saw in
Mm.
front of me? Like I want that. I want utter confusion. And I want to walk out of there and be like, what did I watch? And I want to have to spend hundreds upon thousands of dollars figuring it out, watching it time and time again. And
Like
then
Charlie with the theories.
yes, and then only to be like, oh, you know what? I just need more tie-in comics and memorabilia. Like I want to submit to Spider-Man No Way Home. I wanted it to dominate my body and soul
Okay.
because it looks like it can get there. Maybe I'm just, I'm just one guy. Maybe I'm just going a little off the walls
You're
with
not
what I
just
want.
one guy. You're not just one guy. I'll tell you this though. It's kind of like if we're just looking at the MCU line, like we saw Avengers, we saw our maker. Then we saw Avengers 2, we saw our maker. Then we saw Civil War, and then we saw our maker. But then I was like, oh, someone's in the house. Anyway, um, then we
Do
saw
you know
Endgame.
who's in the house, or are you just
I don't know.
hoping they're not going to hurt you?
I'm just gonna stay here with my water. But I'll say this: we saw Endgame, and we saw the face of our maker with his hand, with his right hand. I want this to be like I want to see our maker with his right hand and his left hand, and then whatever MCU comes up with in the future, maybe the rest of his body, maybe just his chest.
Hmm.
That's the only way I can describe it. Just it needs to do that to your brain. Maybe it could
Yeah.
just blind us, so that is the last movie we see. But I don't want it to be
I,
the last movie.
I'm expecting a real like nerd yell tier moment where like
Like guttural.
Avengers 1 where the Hulk turns around and he's like I'm always angry and you're like and like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
punches, or in the aforementioned beautiful masterpiece Avengers Endgame when he finally says assemble. I'm
Yes.
expecting another one of those moments to stab myself through the eyes and just make me cry.
Through the
I, I
darks of
want
your eyes.
I want so much emotion. Like I said, I want to not understand what is going on. I
Okay.
want it to just assault my eyes. There needs to be crazy things happening. My expectations are extremely high, and I can't wait. I'm hoping that they meet it. Truly, truly, truly.
I'm happy that it's coming out. That it's soon if you think about it. And like we're as adults, time moves
No,
very quickly for us. Like they like I just realized Shang-Chi is coming out next week.
yeah.
Like
I mean, if
yeah,
you think
so
about it, next week is September.
yeah. So it's coming out next week. And yeah, we got time. We got time. We just need to survive this. That's all.
Yeah.
This
We just need to
world we
stay in the house, not touch or breathe on anything, and just stay in the fetal position, sipping water and eating like I don't know,
like
like rice
sugar
cakes or something,
water.
like something
Yeah, like
something safe. Like
yeah.
and we just need to
Let's get some
stay
say
there. Yeah, some saline and just
not even just so you don't choke. Just it's in your bloodstream already.
no. You know what? Forget. All, yeah, exactly. IV it. Just
Yeah, just stay there.
IV, and you just sit in a room. Just sit in a room.
But just let you know, we have to be moving a little bit so we don't atrophy. We want to just
No
be able
bed
to make it
sores.
to
Yeah,
yeah. Just
yeah.
wanna
No atrophy. No bed sores. Like every morning, get up and do 10 minutes of stretching, and that's it. That's the maximum amount of time you're allowed to
yeah.
move. You need to have buckets for the bathroom next to you. There's like you
End of the
need
world
to.
buckets.
Yeah. Yes. You are tapped into your IV. So look, you're gonna lose a lot of weight and you're gonna look fantastic,
Mm,
and you're gonna survive to see Spider Man. That's it.
exactly. Just don't get pulled out of the matrix. That's all.
Exactly. Don't unplug yet. So I mean, talking about Matrix, I guess, is a really good segue, and movies in general. You went
Mhm.
ahead without me, and you saw Free Guy.
I did go. I should have just went to Florida and see you. Because hey,
Yeah.
guys, I'm from New York, and Justin's
Yeah.
originally from New York, but the universe called him to Florida. He'll be back one day. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yes.
I saw Free Guy, and it's Ryan Reynolds. Like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Um, I don't want to talk too much about without spoiling. It was very well
Hmm.
done. Like it's kind of a different version. Like you saw Ready Player One, right?
Yes.
It's think of it as like that. Like you go into the movie as a game nerd, you know everything they're saying. I'm in the movie theater with my cousin and then my fiance Gabby. I think halfway through the movie, she was like, "What's an NPC?" And I looked at her and I was like, "Not a playable
You were
character."
like, "Shut up! I'm watching a movie."
And so like I didn't even like I wasn't even disgusted. I was just like I felt good. Like she didn't know this. Let me share this with her.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and we already know the premise of the story. An NPC becomes self-aware and starts, hanging out with one of the main characters who is a player. One of the things I will tell you, not really a spoiler, it's like in the beginning of the movie, the way they're differentiated is the players wear sunglasses, where the NPCs don't, because they can see everything, like how to start a mission or how to do other things or get money. NPCs don't see any of that because to them it's like literally the Matrix. They're in. It's like that's literally what I thought about the Matrix because he was in there and he's like, "What? This is all fake." It's really dope. Super well done. Like literally at the end of the movie, I was like, "That's crazy." Disney. And then I was like, wait, this is made by Disney. And then I said to myself, because, and you've heard this, that they're going to make another movie. Personally, I think they shouldn't. It just needs to be done. It was good. They should be safe. And what bothered me, and you remember Taika Waititi's character, he's like a money hungry
Yeah.
Scrooge. What bothered me is that whoever made the choice to make a sequel didn't learn from the movie of the money hungry character. Not to spoil it, but we already know how it ends. You see the bad guy lose, and you still decide to make a sequel. And it's like, why? It was good in itself. That's like saying, oh, and which people are talking about this. Let's make a Legend, I Am Legend reboot. It's still a pretty modern, good modern classic. Why would you mess with that?
I feel like yeah, like Like that in particular does not need to get touched. I mean, Free Guy. It's funny because when I first saw the, I don't know, like coming attractions and commercials and
Hmm.
stuff, it would there's a lot of commercials with it, and
He did
typically,
75, 75
tip
trailers.
typically that means it's not good. When you see it everywhere, that's like them
Yeah,
trying to get you to the theater to go watch it because it's not great.
yeah,
So I kind of wrote it off. I was like, oh, it's just another Ryan Reynolds film. Like, I'm sure it'll just be funny for the moment, and then, like, it's not gonna win any awards. But then it came out and all the reviews were saying like it's pretty good. Then they have some pretty cool cameos that I know about. I won't spoil it, but they
mm,
have some cameos in there, and like then it got greenlit for the sequel, and I was like, whoa, this kind of
right.
took the world by storm.
After 2 weeks, the pandemic world.
Yeah, and it broke
So
the record, right, for the pandemic
yeah,
box office, I think.
yeah,
You know, I feel like the pandemic has given us a lot of stuff, like movies and shows and stuff like that. Free Guy, I mean, was a darling. Before that, I know Black Widow had broke the box office. Um, but one thing I just have to touch on since we're talking about movies,
yeah.
which I felt like was a super I don't know. I didn't really have expectations for it, but it was still kind of a letdown. I
Mm,
saw Space Jam: A New Legacy,
mm,
and like I think people should go see it because there are some points where it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, but
mm.
like 90% of the movie is like really, really bad acting.
From someone specific or just in general? And you can say it
So,
because I've heard.
all the humans in the movie except for Don Cheadle, which he definitely overacts like a lot of
Is it
it.
on
But I think
purpose though? Do you
that's the
feel
thing. I
that?
think it's on purpose. He's like an over the top character, so I think it's
Mm,
like it's for it. But he's definitely outshines every single human being in that movie. But there's just so much like there's cool cameos, like exactly like Ready Player One, like exactly like that. Like at one point you see King Kong fist bump the Iron Giant, and it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. And when they
yeah.
pan through the audience of
Yes.
like the people that are watching the game, you see everyone from like different types of Batmans to like and the Joker and Superman and stuff like that to like I'm getting it mixed up because I was gonna say Gremlins and that was in Ready Player One. Um, but there's like so many I can't even think of it because I remember while I was watching it I was like, whoa, that's crazy. There's so many different characters for all ages and everyone's gonna know a bunch of them. Oh, the clown from It is in there at one point. Like
Yeah.
it's just
WB.
it's funny. Like you can see, yeah, it's all the WB properties, so it's a lot.
Mm,
Um, but it was just like the exact opposite of what you're explaining to me with Free Guy. Like Free Guy, I felt like was something that I don't think I was the only person. I think a lot of people kind of wrote it off and we're just like, oh, I guess we'll see when it comes out, and then it ended up being great. And then with Space Jam, I feel like the consensus was like, oh, this is kind of like a cash grab. And then you went and saw it, and it was like, oh, yeah, it was. Like this is not great. It's not
yeah.
what the old one was like the Looney Tunes were good, obviously, because they're Looney Tunes, And
Yeah.
if you like Looney Tunes, you like it. There's a lot of like fun parts in it, but yeah, the whole like I just don't think LeBron did a great job in the acting bits. The story was super weird,
Mm.
and like kind of forced sometimes. I just felt like it really wasn't Space Jam. Like it was weird.
Can Let me ask you a question, or let me say something and then ask you a question. So I didn't see it because I didn't care for it.
Hmm.
And you knew this, like I think back in college when we were talking about how like there was just this sprinkle, this hint of, oh, there's gonna be another Space Jam with
Yeah,
LeBron, and I immediately was like, yo, shut that down. Like we don't want that. Obviously, fast forward to now, it's out. I didn't really care, and I remember talking to some of my coworkers, and then they brought up a good point. So for me, Space Jam will always be the original. But then I'm pretty sure people felt the same way when it came out, but there was nothing for it to look back to. Space Jam 1 was the first Space Jam. Because I feel like if we were like the kids today that are looking up to LeBron, I would say that's their Space Jam. Like that's how I would say it.
yeah,
Um, Did you go back and watch Space Jam 1 after seeing that? Just to refresh your memory and compare? Like,
So I
even though
watched
you've
Space
seen
Jam
it.
One. Like to compare. I watched Space Jam One a couple weeks before I watched
Okay.
New Legacy. So they were both very fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Um.
And it's still original trumps it. Like, if you're
Oh,
looking at it just a film.
as okay. So as a film, like at the core, they're basically the
Yeah.
same, right? Like basketball player
Okay.
gets sucked into this game with made up characters.
Yeah.
Um. Where I think the first one excelled was that, and maybe it was a product of the time. Like Looney Tunes, I feel
Yeah.
like were still really really popular at that time. They
Yep.
were going through like their second wave, or because from when they were made in like the 40s, clearly they've always had a
Yeah.
presence. But I think in like the 90s, they had all those other WB shows, and Looney Tunes were still pretty prevalent. So I think they capitalized it, really well, and it did great. I mean, look, Michael Jordan is not winning any freaking Oscars, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the soundtrack to that, as well as the movie itself, had definitely a broader appeal for sure.
Mm.
Because if you're an adult going to see this movie, there's almost nothing for you. If you're an
Yeah.
adult seeing this movie, the only thing that you could cling on to are like the cool little cameos. Whereas before,
Yes.
I felt like if you were an adult and you liked Looney Tunes, the entire movie you can find some sort of respite in it because it's Looney Tunes. If you
Yeah.
don't like basketball, if you don't like Michael Jordan, which at that time was like impossible, but
Yeah.
whatever, if you liked Looney Tunes, you were gonna have a great time. Here, it's very much like the Looney Tunes take a back seat, um,
Mm.
or at least that's what I felt like. It's a very LeBron heavy story with his kid. The kid is like the whole thing is like the kid is a video game programmer, or he's aspiring to be a video game programmer, make video games, and LeBron's just so like hardcore on him, like, no, you got to do basketball, blah blah blah, like, come on, like, you got to practice, do all this stuff. And it was just like it felt forced
I was
because,
just gonna
like,
say it feels shoehorned into it.
yeah, like, it's like they had the idea and then they backed into it, like how they were gonna get there, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There was that. I mean, the Looney Tunes definitely have some good like dialogue and stuff. There's a whole Porky Pig rap scene which is fantastic.
Mm.
Um, like he does like a rap battle and it's amazing. All the Looney Tunes are hiding out in different areas of like Warner Brother properties. So
Mm.
when they go and pick up the Looney Tunes, it's cool. Like each one of them
Okay.
is in like their own thing, and that's fun. That's the fun part because of
Okay.
the cameos, right? I mean, do you care if I say anything?
No, go
Like,
ahead.
so like Lola Bunny is training with the Amazons,
Nice.
with Wonder Woman.
Mm.
So like that was really cool to see,
I like
you
that.
know, like that was really fun. And then everyone else has like their own thing, and they're all hidden throughout. Most of them are like what's in like superhero worlds or whatever, but they're
Yeah.
hidden throughout the WB. Like they called it the serververse, right? Because
Mm.
it's all computers and crap.
Yeah.
So that was fun, but the actual movie, like the game, was kind of garbage. Like there was
Uh,
weird like little power ups, and it was like
it seems like
this
too much.
kid was this kid was basically making like 2K, but like with power ups and stuff. And then Don Cheadle was like, "Oh, we're gonna use that, and you're gonna play in the game." It was a lot. It kind of sucked,
Yeah.
but
I
anyway,
think it was too much. I think there were it was seems like too much. I don't know, like whoever was behind this story that you're describing to me, like
it
the
felt
writers
like
were,
it felt like people were like, "Oh, what do millennials like?"
yeah,
Right? And they were like, "Oh, nostalgia." And then they were like, "What do kids nowadays like?" And they were like,
2K,
"Video games."
yeah,
And they
video
were
games,
like,
all that,
"Boom." And
yeah. Because I think
it
what
just
this
didn't come off right.
lost, because like if we, even though Space Jam 1 and 2 are in a sense the same, but two doesn't have the magic that one had, where it was sincerity.
Yeah,
Because
no.
even though we don't, care about the person who sings that song that I'm not going to name, but we all love that song, and that matches. And I'm pretty sure it was made for the movie, so it's like it hits. Like everything was genuine. The Looney Tunes were genuine. The fact that Michael Jordan goes into this cartoon world, that to me was magic. the fact that in this one, LeBron, it just seems like okay to explain this. It's science, video, like Michael Jordan
That's
going into this
exactly.
world. I was just like, oh yeah, it's magic. It's a cartoon verse. Like when I was younger and I saw this, I was just like, I believed in my mind as a young dumb child. I was like, yo, underground Looney Tunes are there. Like I was like,
Yep.
anything cartoon related is underground, and
So like,
I wanted
and
to
that was
dig
the,
my way there.
and that was the thing, right? It was how genuine it was. They had a reason to bring Michael Jordan in, right?
Hmm.
Looney Tunes got invaded by some toon aliens. They were like, hey, we're gonna take you, whatever, and they were like, oh, play us for it. And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna play them basketball because they're super short," and it made sense, So the whole story had a nice flow. Whereas here, it was like, "How do we get Michael Jordan to play basketball with Looney Tunes?" And then they backed out, and they were like, "Okay, we can make it. This happens, then this happens, and this happens." It didn't have a
Yeah,
good flow into
yeah,
the whole like why he was there because it's like Don Cheadle is like this AI inside
yeah,
the WB servers, and he wants LeBron to be the promoter for their new um, app streaming service, and it's like okay, the whole thing honestly was almost like a commercial. As
yeah.
weird as
That's
that sounds, the
literally
whole
the moment
thing
you said that, I was like,
the whole thing is like from that moment, like when you figure out what the overarching, and it's like the first 10 minutes, the
mm,
overarching like plot is, it
yeah,
feels like it's one big commercial for a WB streaming service.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't awesome, but
It's not good.
now kind of segueing from streaming and movies to
Yeah,
streaming versus movies, there's been a lot of like hiccups and kind of like oh no nos with
a lot of
uh
no-nos.
yeah with streaming and movies and like movies coming out same day on both streaming platforms and movie theaters.
Yeah. So like I remember like back when I was like, was it the middle? We were in the middle of our pandemic. I'll say around December. When let's say when Wonder Woman 2 dropped. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna put that in our streaming service, HBO Max, and what do you call it? In theaters.
Theaters.
And they were like, all right, cool. They're trying to figure something out. And it does well. But the only thing is they paid the people that made the movie their cut, but that was a one-time thing. And what's crazy is WB decided to be like, hey, anytime these movies drop, it's going to come out on our streaming service. And then immediately after that, all the directors for those movies, specifically, what comes to mind is the movie for Dune, the director for Dune, Denis Villeneuve. He's like, I don't want that. Like, our
Yeah.
deal was for theaters. And it's crazy. And then a lot of people, you got like Scorsese and everyone just like streaming is not the way to go. And then you got people like Feige, it's like streaming is the way to go. And I don't want to like. I like Martin Scorsese. I like the old school directors, but they have to. Personally, I feel like they have to realize because they sound very pretentious at this point. Because you got to remember,
Mm.
they were young pups one day too. Now they're the big dogs, and it's just
Yeah.
like, nah. You, I personally, if I was sitting in the room, I probably wouldn't say this because I'd be like pooping my brains out sitting in front of them. But it's like you need to chill because your movies are still playing somewhere in the background, and you're still getting money from those. Yes, and one of my friends gave me an example. Like back in the day when syndication was a thing, Friends, they get that money. It's still playing on TBS. They're still making their TBS money. Office was making Office. You got like they're still playing on USA. They're still on Comedy Central. They're still making that money. And then Peacock came out with their streaming platform, and then they like let's take it back. I don't know what the deal is there, but I'm sure that like the Office actors get their royalties and whatnot, but not
Yeah,
as
there
much as
has
their
to be.
syndication. Their syndication is probably what gets their most money, and we all know, and you know the story with ScarJo, Scarlett Johansson. For those who don't know, you should know this. She's Black Widow. Anyway, the story was she wanted to reach out to Disney, not Marvel Studios, guys, Disney, to be like, yo, let's renegotiate because the pandemic hit everybody, and she got no response, and that's why she's suing them. Because to me, in my head, Disney's just sitting there like, oh, someone's emailing us, and they just look the other way. It's Scarlett Johansson. If you're getting an email from someone like her, she's trying to just renegotiate. She didn't say give me money. She just wanted to renegotiate because it sucks that her money only came from theaters, but then you're gonna put it on streaming, and not only just streaming that premium, you have to pay for it. So you're telling me Disney's gonna be greedy? Like I love Disney, but like come on, you're gonna be greedy and just take that money and not do that? So I'm pretty sure I haven't kept up with it in a while, but they're still doing. I don't know what's going on between the two. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
gonna
so
go to
it's
court.
it's still
Yeah,
yeah, it's still happening. I read something today or yesterday. It's still happening. The lawyer, like ScarJo's lawyer,
yeah,
is proceeding with like whatever legal stuff. Um, but apparently it was part of her contract that it would only release in theaters. And Disney kind of went backwards on that and said, "Well, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want anyway."
yeah.
So that's the premise that they're kind of going with for the lawsuit, because it was like, hey, you kind of disregarded this portion of the contract. Like, we should have renegotiated, and I should be getting more money now because I guess her just like her fee or her whatever salary um was
Bankrupt.
coming out of the
The
theatrical
ticket sales.
release.
Yeah,
Yeah, the ticket sales. So because of that, clearly the ticket sales were awful.
yeah,
And I mean, listen, I'm not crying over how much money she did or didn't make because I'm sure she's making more than I
oh,
am.
yeah,
But but that's not like strictly speaking, that's not cool. You don't do that.
yeah.
Um Also side note, I don't know if you've seen Scarlett Johansson's name printed out recently, but it threw
No,
me for such a big loop because I was reading it and I was like, is that how you spell Johansson?
no.
Scarlett Johansson? And I just kept being like, Scarlett Johansson. Like I had to continue to like say it over and over again because I was like,
Yeah,
it's just one of those words like it looks like it's spelt wrong.
yeah. Like
But
Johansson
maybe
something.
that yeah, like but
Yeah,
maybe it's just me and I'm just
like
a
Leo,
dummy.
when people say from Key and Peele, Liam Neeson.
It felt like that. It felt like that.
Um,
Um
but yeah, like to go back to what you said, something about like, yeah, she may make more money than us mortals here, but it's all about accountability. And I don't want to get into a rabbit hole with like the Ray Fisher stuff, but there's been stuff with him, and it's all about accountability. Disney is a giant; they need to do what's right. And not only that, she's a woman, and there's that thing where women don't get paid equal pay. So like, if this was a man, I feel like Disney would have listened to whoever that man was. So she needs to, because going back to what we're about, us, me and you, when it comes to art, yes, I'm not, I don't really care for the money, but I would love for my project to like rake in money, obviously, for so I can do something with a living. But if I know something is being done wrong, I don't want to be wronged by some giant that also I looked up to. Growing up,
yeah.
Disney movies were my thing. Now you're gonna wrong me, but and so it kind of sucks, and they need to do what's right.
Yeah, I think at the base of it it's just, that equal playing field for everyone.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't matter your age, race, gender, like anything at all. It should be an equal playing field. And with this, it's like it kind of seems like they pulled the rug from underneath her. Again, I'm not an expert or anything. I'm just a Joe
yeah,
Schmo, but it's just seeing that. I think public perception is also a big deal too. And I mean, listen, Disney is not a saint. Disney has been doing some shady stuff forever.
yeah.
They've breached contracts before. I'm sure this won't be the last time, but they're and we also don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But yeah, it
Right.
just doesn't look right. And then somebody else, who was it? They were gonna join the suit with Scarlett
Emma
Johansson,
Stone for
Emma
her
Stone.
Cruella, which I haven't
Yeah.
seen yet, but that's neither here nor there. But that's true. I think they did exactly the same thing,
Yep.
which makes me think because for the longest time they were Disney themselves were experimenting, which I get. You can experiment, but when it comes to doing the right thing, I'm like you owe this person money. That's what you need to fix. Because I remember when HBO or rather WB was like, yeah, their movies are going to come out the same day in theaters and on streaming. the directors were not happy about that because you got someone like Christopher Nolan, again Dennis Villeneuve. They believe, and this is to me, this comes from like I feel it's a little pretentious, but they said it should only be seen in theaters. But if you think about it, after the movie's out of theaters, it's gonna go to home video and streaming anyway.
I think some
But
of the
yeah,
I
yeah,
think some of that comes like with Dune specifically. I remember like
yeah,
I read like the director's like comments or whatever, and I kind
hmm
of like that. I kind of agree with like he says that the grandness of that movie will
hmm
get lost in a TV screen. So if you want to see it and fully experience that movie, it should be in the theaters, which I
and I
understand. And I
agree
mean,
with
it
that.
kind of and I think HBO does it like since it's different from Disney. I think they do it a pretty okay way. It's not perfect, but like they do
Yeah,
day and date with theaters and HBO Max, but then it leaves HBO Max and stays in theaters, and then it
yeah,
returns to HBO Max months later on, like with
yeah.
the DVD release.
And I haven't looked into it, and I should, but I believe they did what was right. They I think they renegotiated that too because I think the money
Mhm.
thing there's not a big money thing when it comes to WB and their the creatives and the actors. I think that's been renegotiated. But like you said, it's there for 30 days and then it gets taken out, but it's still in theaters because the like all right because like a few months back, whenever Mortal Kombat was on HBO Max, I wasn't really, crazy to go see it, but it was on there. Had nothing to do. Watched half of it. I was like, don't care for it. I was like, I'll come back the next day, but I missed it. It's not there anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'll just have to wait till it comes back on HBO Max. But
And that was
yeah,
like
yeah,
similar to what happened with Kong and Godzilla for me. Like I was very
yeah.
interested. I just missed it. I just never got to see it, and now it's back on HBO Max.
Mm.
Mortal Kombat, another shameless cash grab, to be honest. But the fight scenes I think were fantastic. The
Oh yeah,
entire other hour and 40 minutes of that movie is utter
yeah.
trash, but the fight scenes were super good.
Yeah, I because I to me I was like there was a game and I know there was an animated movie. Not to like get off tangent here, but and I was like, why are
Mhm.
they making a live version of this? And I'm like, okay, if they're gonna do a live version, they have to do
Well, there
this
was a
really.
game,
And this was all
cart.
recent. Yeah,
Yeah, there was a
this it
cartoon, and
happened all recently.
I mean, all like from the beginning. You got to remember there was the two live action movies in the '90s. The first one
Oh
did
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
The second one did terrible. I'm pretty sure they had two cartoons. They had that animated movie not too long ago.
yeah,
Um, the live
yeah. But I'm
action
talking about
movie,
in recent times, like real recent.
yeah,
Like when you said cash grab, I immediately thought like this all happened in a span of 2 years. You
yeah,
had the
yeah, for
game,
sure.
animated movie, and live movie. I was like, and then I was like, why are they doing this? But then
That
you
live
said it.
movie should have like it should have been way better, but they just I don't
Yeah.
know. Cash grab again, like so I think some of the casting was really good, and then some of the like I think it was half and half. Half of them were like super good, and then the other half were like, oh, you're trying like really hard,
Yeah.
and then just the plot was weird, and
Don't even know the
like
plot.
yeah, it was just a
I
weird
watched
thing.
half
But
of it. I'm like, where's this going?
yeah, the whole that guy that they made up for the movie is Scorpion's like
Oh yeah,
descendant.
Descendant.
Yeah, it was weird. But anyway, going back, yeah, it's just shameless cash grabs all over the place. It's not that awesome, but I mean, hopefully, like it. I mean, it'll never chill out. It's Hollywood.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard,
It
and
is what it is.
that's something I've always complained about too. Like, what was it? I was talking to someone about it. I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah, the cash grab thing, it just kind of sucks. Oh, so I saw Reminiscent with Hugh Jackman. Nothing I was fiending to see.
It was garbage, right? Didn't it do like
It actually
terrible?
wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Really?
Yeah. So I like me and my cousin were like, "Yo, let's just go see it." And then one of my other friends was like, "Nah, it looks like what?" The trailer is horrible. I'll tell you that. But I went to see the movie, and I wanted to see it because I wanted to see Wolverine on the screen. That's all. I just want to see
Of
Wolverine.
course, I get
That's
that.
all. And I met him at where I work, so I was like, "That's cool. I got to see my man's." It was not bad, but the movie is it's not a remake. It's literally the same plot as an old movie. I forget the name of it. I'll look it up
Oh, it
and
looks exactly like Total Recall.
no, no, not Total Recall, a different one, but it kind of has that same vibe. It's called. It has the same. It's the same plot. You know, a guy who works for the police, and it deals with memories as well. It's the whole thing, and that got me upset because this is why Hollywood, to me personally, sucks. And I mean, well, when I say Hollywood, I mean American movies or the people making them, because they keep rebooting or remaking things, and that's like
Yeah, man.
that. The creativity is dying because of that. Because it makes it sucks because like I want to be one of those people making new things, but then you're like, nah, this like, and I've said this to you before, and I think I've said this on our last episode. If I wrote Inception and it was perfect, you're gonna tell me no, because I have no credit, I have nothing, I don't have a name like Chris Nolan, and I could have been mine, and I could have it could have been mine. So it's like, why not make something fresh? But like I said, I digress. I wanted to see Hugh Jackman. It wasn't bad. Whatever. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it
Okay.
at that.
And it's man, you had me thinking about something else, and I totally it like went out the window.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But no, 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 it's all good. Yeah, it just sucks, man. Like I can understand the rebooting and all that because some things I can see, maybe we can do it better. Oh, now I remember. It's like
Yeah.
maybe we could do it better. But a lot of them, it's kind of like, dude, just leave it alone. Just
Mhm.
stop, like bring in new ideas. Like the one thing that another movie that I kind of wrote off immediately was Candyman. Like, I mean, I know Jordan Peele's attached and I like his stuff, but I was just like, it does, like, it didn't do great back then. I doubt that it's gonna do great now. And I I kind of got told to shut up. It's reviewing really, really well. But it was another one of those things where I saw so many commercials nonstop about it. I was like, oh, it's gonna suck. I was like, it's
Mhm.
gonna suck. They're
Yeah.
just trying to get butts in the seats. But apparently it's reviewing pretty well. I think IGN just gave it a 9.
Yeah. I
Like,
did see that.
so I mean, hey, maybe it'll be like the next new Jordan Peele like horror movie that's good. Um, but yeah, like I'm on the same wavelength. Like I'm kind of over rehashing and redoing everything every couple years. Like just let it go. Bring some new ideas to the table.
Yeah.
Like that's why
I,
I feel like the perfect example about that. Do you remember a couple years back? We were probably in college. When the Oscar for the best picture was that black and white movie, the silent movie with the dog in it, and that dog got like super famous. It was a French movie.
oh no, I don't. It won best what? What did
Yeah,
it
it
win?
won like best picture, like
Oh
the
no.
big guy. Yeah, it was a black and white silent movie, and it was one of the main characters was a dog, or one of like supporting characters, whatever. And the dog got like really famous for a little while, but
It sounds familiar. I just don't recall
but I feel like
exactly.
it won that award specifically
Mm,
because it was different.
mm,
Because there's so many things that aren't new. There's so many things like, and as much as I love superhero movies and stuff like that, like it is honestly like a rebooting or a rehashing of like comic books and different other
yeah.
like printed media that we've seen forever. And I love seeing it on the big screen because it's, stuff that I like and I don't want it to go away anytime soon. But when we get to like sequels like that are 20 years apart, like the thing that comes to mind is like Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when they did that sequel, and it was like, dude, just let it be. Like stupid movies are stupid in the moment and they're fun, but then like when you go back to it 20 years later, it's not as fun. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. I think
Oh,
a
back
lot
to
of Hollywood needs
going
to move
to
on.
was it Going to America or whatever it was?
Oh, Coming to America,
Coming to
yeah.
America. Yeah, like that. I was like, I saw it and I was like, okay,
Yeah, it's not the
whatever.
same. Like I liked what he did, like specifically with Coming to America. Eddie Murphy made sure that, like, I think it was like most of, if not the entire crew was black. Like they were
Mhm.
all African Americans
Yes, I
and
did. Yeah.
yeah, and other minorities, and that's awesome. Like that's a great thing, like, giving jobs to people of color because, in Hollywood it's mostly dominated by white people. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Agreed.
So I like that that was a cool thing that he did, but he did not need to make that movie at all. Like, that
It
was
didn't.
not a necessary.
could have
thing,
done
bro.
another movie with the same idea, like have more people
Exactly.
of color in your team. But yeah,
Yep.
but yeah,
Hopefully, in the future, everything is better and more original. And I mean,
yeah,
talking about
the future.
future, like Chrome future, like straight up Squidward in the fetal position crying.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, did you see this freaking Tesla robot? The Tesla bot?
The image of that. Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's not out yet.
yeah,
But yeah, the
yeah.
images. Dude, it is
I robot
terrifying.
static. Yeah, I wouldn't buy one. I wouldn't,
That
even
is
if I could afford it.
that is the first thing I thought of when I saw that iRobot. I was like, these things are too close to the
Will
iRobot
Smith posted.
robots.
He posted it. He put the robot and his face looking at the robot, and it was hilarious. He was like, "Are you
Dude,
serious?"
it's so crazy that we're in this time and like seeing stuff where like humanoid robots are like really, 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 really becoming a thing.
Like,
It's
if
weird.
you look at it in the grand scheme of the last 2 3 months, I immediately thought of Blade Runner, like replicants, and we could go to
Mm,
space now. Like, if we colonize a planet, we can start sending our Tesla robots up there. Straight up, Blade Runner. I'm staying in my house, and I'm gonna buy real estate so I can have space to do activities, and hopefully we have a teleport machine so I can just teleport to your house, teleport to my parents' house, and that's all I need to go to. And work, hopefully I have enough money from my books to fund everything. But I'm not leaving the house. I'm not. It's crazy.
dude,
The
it's
freaking Boston Dynamics thing. Like,
dude,
yeah,
that thing was wild.
I
So
thought it was a video. Like, I thought not a video. Like, I thought it was
like
animated, like
CG or
a
something,
yeah, like a
yeah.
CG. And I was like,
So for so those that don't know what we're talking about, the Tesla, everyone knows the company Tesla and Elon Musk. They announced their own robot, and it's literally like a humanoid robot that they're trying to bring to market in like a year or two. And then Boston Dynamics is the robotics group that for the last, I don't know, I feel like 10 plus years, they've really been doing like really big innovations in robotics. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen those
you've
videos of
definitely seen it.
robots getting like pushed over and like standing up, or like the dog robot that'll follow you around and pick things up. But yeah, now they were able to get their like, I forgot the name of the actual robot. I know the dog one's called Spot, but I don't remember what like the human one is called.
But
But
it's standing upright like a human, so
yeah,
its
it's
posture.
standing upright, it's running, and it was able to do a freaking obstacle course, like American
Yeah.
Ninja status,
Mhm.
which was like, it's insane. And I think if I'm not mistaken, it's not remote control. I'm pretty sure it's all AI.
Yeah, I think it's programmed, but uh, I think it's learning. It's a program learning.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, because I know Apple is doing their program learning too. Basically, like Siri, it's pretty primitive,
Hmm.
but it's still learning. Because the way like it did running, jumping, and like because it doesn't have fingers, but it has like hand nubs where it puts it, like, to me it was fascinating. It puts its hand on the thing and it lunges
Yeah, it
over.
vaulted. It
And
vaulted
yeah,
over like cover.
and then I was like, that, and I immediately thought of robot warfare, and that's why I'm staying
Yep.
home. I'm not leaving the house, but I got stock in Tesla, so I'm Gucci.
Yeah, it like jumps over cover like in a freaking Call of Duty game. It did like little somersaults,
Hmm.
and when I was like reading the article about it and all that, it linked me to. Did you see this Baby Groot video that Disney put out?
No, no,
So, did you ever see? I think it was like 2 years ago now. I think they might have started using it, but I'm not sure yet. They developed robots to do stunts in Disney shows. So
no.
like to do like, yeah, to do like flips and like acrobatics to like kind of minimize any
Like
like
injury.
injuries and stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Disney's been working on that for a while. I don't think it's implemented yet. Be It might be because I know that they had like a pretty prominent Spider-Man one that was like to do flips and stuff.
Wasn't that the
So
Spider-Man one in because of the injuries at the Broadway show, or is
mm-mm,
that later
mm-mm.
on? Oh, that's
Totally
different.
different.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
This is for the theme park in California.
yes,
S-
okay.
So so now I saw this a couple months back. They released they've been building this baby Groot robot for I think it was like 2 years now.
Hmm.
Dude, it is a walking, talking baby Groot.
Mm.
It literally is an actual baby Groot. It's like maybe like a foot and a half tall, and it walks around, and it's a freaking robot.
I gotta
And
check
like
this out.
it looks wild. Like it looks. I mean, you could tell it's a robot, but it looks
Like
exactly
at
like
first
baby Groot.
glance, like you'd be like, oh,
Oh, at first glance, you would think that this thing's like a kid in a costume or something. It's walking around, it waves, it says, I am Groot. Like, and it's meant to be an interactive character in the
mhm,
theme parks.
yeah,
So, this is the first one that they're building, and I'm sure they're going to keep going throughout and make like real interactive characters that are robots walking through the park and that like you could hug baby Groot and like take a picture with it and stuff, and it's like a robot.
yeah.
It's insane how far like robotics are coming, and I feel like a very very short amount of time. I mean, listen, I'm no scientist major doctor person, but
But you're of an intelligent being that came from
I hope
space,
so. And
so
like,
you can
you
put it
know,
together.
seeing robots, it like blows my freaking mind.
Yeah, like it. When you said Baby Groot, I immediately thought of people say Baby Yoda, but Grogu. Um, because if you ever watch it's the show that comes after Mandalorian. So it's Mandalorian season one, and there's something called the Gallery for Mandalorian, and they show you like the mechanics they make for
Hmm.
Baby Yoda, and it's cool because but obviously it's controlled. But I can imagine the innovation that John Favreau and Filoni
Filoni.
yeah, like to have that created, to get that created is really dope. So I'm sure because it's all Disney, they're all talking to each other about
Yeah, they're
making
all
these things.
sharing technologies and
Yeah,
ideas and stuff.
if in some timeline, depending on how they work the story, if Grogu comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the episode of Gallery if it's a walking, talking Grogu without being controlled by a remote. Because from the show, it shows that they're using like some RC control that they built
Yeah,
themselves, and it just works. But to see the fact that you said that Baby Groot is walking around in some theme park, Baby Yoda's not far along. He's not that
it
far.
can't be.
It's
Yeah.
just it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it can't be. And it's like I know that they haven't released it yet or anything like that. It's still like being worked on, and I'm sure they want to make sure it doesn't like short out and electrocute someone while they're taking a picture. But yeah, man, it looks insane. Like, and in the video they kind of had like the journey. So how it started out with the frame and then it was like a really big one and they were able to shrink it down over the course of like 2 years and now it's like obviously bigger than what Baby Groot would actually be because Baby Groot's like
Yeah,
6 or 7
small.
inches.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's about it to me. It looked like about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet, and it's a walking, talking Baby Groot, and it's super weird.
random. I just need to say this because it kind of popped in my brain. You said take a picture and short out. I immediately thought of uh, oh, what's the name of that movie? I had it and it's when Jordan Peele's movie, the first one that he did that we all loved. Why
Get
am I?
out.
Yes, Get Out. Thank you. It reminded me of that.
Mm.
Take a
And
picture of Baby Group and it just becomes self-aware.
he's just like, "Oh my god, help me!"
And it's actually talking, not saying I am Groot.
No, it's like talking. It's like a real person's voice. Get me out of here, please.
It is
And
a
they're
real
like,
person.
"Oh, don't worry about that, folks. He's just having a malfunction." And they drag him off. He's like, "Please, it's hell!" Ah!
It's actually Rick from Rick and Morty. He's just like, uh, what's it? He's like he says his like catchphrase, and he's just like, no, I'm saying
Wubba
I
lubba
need
dub
help.
dub.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
not to
that
go
would
off
be
that.
crazy.
Like talking about self awareness, I did write when I was writing an article for this online publication. You ever watch Westworld?
No, it's been on my list forever, but yeah, no.
When you get to it, I'll tell you now. Season one is super great. Season two is like, damn, what's going on? I personally I love it all, but it's great.
Mm,
But I wrote a paper or the article about it, how it's dangerous for robots to become self-aware. In the premise for Westworld, these robots look literally human. Like you
Yeah.
can't tell, but their insides are like it's made of some sort of synthetic whatever. When you shoot them, they still bleed. Blah blah blah. They're programmed to think that they're dying. Obviously, you can reuse the robots. Blah blah blah. The dangerous part of it is like by the end of season one, then that's like the origins of them becoming self-aware, and it's just like I remember writing the paper and watching the show. The show, watching anything, reading anything about this is fascinating, but the fact that we're gonna get to this is gonna be scary on some like iRobot status. I remember reading an article by that they interviewed Stephen Hawkins about like how dangerous we should not be pursuing artificial intelligence. Because think about it. So I work in the Apple store. People come in, they have glitches on their phones. Imagine if it's a walking, talking phone and it glitches on you. We don't want that. And I think Stephen Hawking, I don't think, I know he's right. Dude is the smartest man on the planet. We don't want that.
Well, he
It,
was his
it's
time.
scary. We don't want it. I'm just going to say
No,
that.
not at all. We don't.
It's
And I feel
cool.
like,
Just don't want
yeah, it's cool in movies. Like, they had this thought with the freaking Terminator. Why what aren't we learning? Like what aren't we getting as a human race? Like, hey, we need
But
to
this is their
stop
thought
this.
process. Oh, that's fake.
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably
like
what they thought.
the Terminator will happen. Skynet is called Tesla. We need to stop it
Literally.
now. It's
Um,
I don't know. I mean, it's cool to see, but it's also kind of scary to see like where it would possibly go. You're right.
yeah, like I'm
It's
I'm
weird.
really hyped to see I'm really hyped to see that we're getting farther with it because that means people that are have been had amputated or lost limbs or anything like that, we can attach robotic parts. The only tricky part is it's not that hard to make a limb. It's just the nerve parts. Because
Yeah.
obviously, if my left hand is it's just not going to be the same. Hopefully, the nerve technology is getting better every year.
Yeah.
That's something I would like to. I think that's very cool because
Yeah.
it makes me think, and it's the nerd in me makes me think of Full Metal Alchemist or even
Mhm.
iRobot. We find out he has a metal or a robotic arm.
Mhm.
That's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Metal
Not
Gear
just some,
Solid 5.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, no, all that stuff is definitely great and I think that that should be a goal, right? To kind of help increase what is it? Like quality of
Like
life
more
for a
or
lot
more
of
time. Yeah,
yeah, for a lot of people. I think that would be fantastic. Like that's where we should be going with it. But I mean, the other half of it, with Arnold Schwarzenegger showing up naked in an alley, getting ready to kill someone, it's it's pretty scary stuff.
well, I think it's okay if you're not the target.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I'm not the target and I see this happen across the street, I'm definitely,
Shades.
yep, shades down, and I'm going to crawl into bed and start crying hysterically. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to process that correctly.
Yeah.
None.
If even if
Like,
you told me, I'd be like, Justin, let's get out of here.
yeah,
You
there's no
woke up
way.
from a nap.
Yeah, I would be like, you need some help, dude. Like, there's no way I would allow that to even enter my mind palace
And
as like a real thought.
I hate the fact that Musk is like, oh yeah, it's not meant. It's only meant to pick up or like pick up a certain amount of weight or anything like that. I'm like, I don't care. It will learn to do certain things.
Yeah.
Like I know I weigh 200 pounds. It may be able to pick up what 100, but it's gonna learn how to pick me up. I don't care.
Two. Okay, one can only pick up 100. Well, two of them could pick you up. Yep. Just wait.
And not
That's all
even
you
that.
need.
It knows more math than me. It will use physics to kill me. So
Hell yeah. It'll use like a penny to kill you. It'll flick it in the right way. Yeah, it'll ricochet and go through your eye and done.
yeah, and that's it. And look at that. We solved it, guys. You heard it here first.
You could look back and see we called it. We literally called it. Just make sure they can't lift more than 100 pounds, and we're fine.
Yeah, that's all a lie. Anyway, we're nearing the end.
Yes.
So Justin, I want
Hmm.
to ask you first. What are you reading or watching right now?
So I'm not reading a gosh darn thing. because I suck and I need to actually
You
read
don't
things.
suck. You just
I
take
haven't
things
I
in
haven't
differently.
I haven't read things in so long. I miss reading. I really do. It's just I can't find like the drive to do it. It's so costly. It takes time. And I mean like I guess everything takes time. It's just I'd rather not have to read, you know? But I have been watching a lot of things. So right now I'm kind of taking a hiatus. I have not been watching The Office, which is this is probably the longest stretch of not watching The Office that I've
Oh,
had
that's
in
crazy.
a couple of years. Yeah, I haven't watched an episode of The Office in a couple months. Um, but right now I am in the middle of watching Friends again. Friends is
Okay.
fantastic. And I have jumped back on the One Piece train. So I am now on episode. I think last time I'm in the 540s. I think. Yeah, I'm in the 540s.
I'm
So
so
just for
jealous.
for for everyone that doesn't know, One Piece is a Japanese anime. I mean, it's English dubbed and it's been dubbed since like the 90s.
1999.
So, yeah, so I'm slowly making my way through all 1,000 plus episodes. Like I said, I'm in like the 540s, so I still got I think I'm about halfway cuz it's at what?
You're about, yeah, it's like nine something, 900 something. But like
Okay,
you,
900
when
something.
you got back into it, you moved pretty quickly.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
when I
wouldn't
got
say
back into
slowly.
it, yeah, when I got back into it, I crushed like 50 episodes in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I went through a lot. But yes, it is a pirate anime and it is quite possibly one of the best shows ever created and every single episode is a delight. I strongly recommend it to every single person ever. I think there's something in it for everyone. Um it's just fantastic. I'm watching it on Funimation with Jay's help, of course. He has the account, so don't tell the FBI, but I'm stealing it and I'm using it to watch it. But yeah, man, it's a fantastic show. I love it. Like, and every single arc, so every couple, episodes, every saga that it goes through, I get a new favorite character. So I was just introduced to Kung Fu Point Chopper when he gets to like
Yes.
be all fat and kung fu-y, dude.
Yes.
New favorite
I
character.
told you that's one of the reasons why he's been my favorite character before that, but this kind of upped it for me
Yeah, new
because he
favorite
can
character.
finally like handle his own with like the grunts, which is cool. But
It's just funny because he's just like,
and he
and he's
looks
just
like
like
those characters that he was
yeah,
with.
he looks like those like caveman guys. But it's fantastic. Yes, everyone go now, run as fast as you can,
You
running
have
around at
so
the speed of
much.
sound. Just run and go get a subscription to
There's
Funimation
so
so you
much
can watch
content. There's so much
One
content. Even
Piece.
if you're not
There's
reading
so
it,
much.
watch it. Like
So
the
much.
reason I said it earlier, I'm jealous because I'm up to date. I've been watching this, not to get into a rabbit hole, but I've been watching this since I was 12, 13. And this was when it was like on 4Kids, when it was like super edited, chopped up, dubbed.
Oh, I
But
started then as well.
yeah, and but then I had to rewatch it because there was a lot of stuff we missed.
Hmm.
The pirate rap was cool. I don't care what anyone says because it still
It
put
was
me on.
fantastic.
But I don't want
Took
to
a
get
bite of
too
gum
into it.
gum.
But I remember talking to Gabby yesterday, and we were talking about how like what can you talk about for 3 hours? And this is what I said. Like literally, not like I said, not to get into it, but the philosophy behind this is part of me. It's literally like one of the core things about this is about friendship, and this is literally why I take it so seriously. Like friendship is a thing that I love, and it's not something that's been created. It's always been a thing. The idea of friendship, and it's just like friendship personified in anime form or in book form, what have you. But it's great. And what Justin says, go watch it. Just stop listening to us. Just go. Come back
Yep.
and finish this. But
I'll
go
forgive you.
now.
I forgive you. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Just go
We're still
watch.
here. Yeah. But that's good.
So
I'm happy because like I'm jealous. I'd say because you're watching it with virgin eyes. Like I wish I had the deneuralizer to just blind my not blind my brain so I can
and
watch
just
it
go
from
back
episode
through
one.
it.
And I'm rewatching it for the fourth time. So I'm like in the middle, like twice
Oh,
in
that's
Japanese
so
and English.
much.
So I'm
That's
just,
so
but I just
much.
have it playing in the background,
Yeah.
and I'm just like working, and I will watch it. But I get too distracted from my work to watch
Hmm.
it. But it's so
Yeah,
good,
that I
and
can't have it on. while I'm working because then I just get too sucked into it and
Yeah,
I gotta stop.
and I think I'm reading it again. Just you hear the crickets, but I think I am, and I don't know why I say I think because I am. I'm up to the part with Zoro again fighting Mihawk, but
Mm,
yeah, I'm probably gonna look at good parts. I'm not gonna go through it. Anyway,
not through every single page.
yeah, but
So okay,
it's good.
so we covered me. What are you reading and or watching?
So reading, because right now I'm just watching too many things. I just watch anything that I can or that I'm in the mood. But reading, I'm reading Dune. Everyone's always
Mm-hmm.
talked about Dune. The movie Dune is coming out, and I like to read before the movie comes out. It's such a dense book. I I'm I can't read normally. I read the same page for 5 hours. But like you're in the train. It takes me like an hour, less than an hour to go to work. Maybe it takes me like 40 minutes, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
like staying on the same page for like 20 of those minutes, and it sucks. So I have an audio book, so I can
Oh,
listen
okay.
while I'm reading. So it gets me through because I'm a good listener. I'll listen and
Mm,
read along. And I was going to suggest that to you too. Like if you ever do that,
mm.
because you're in the train. So I'm just like I'm reading, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, great book. Dude, I was scared to read it without the audiobook because I was like, bruh, this
Mm-hmm.
is such a big book. And I've read, so I thought it was bigger. It was more pages than the book that I've read. The most I've ever read was like 500 plus pages. This is
Mm-hmm.
like close. It's like 400 plus pages. So I'm like, but it's very
Oh, okay.
dense. That's the difference. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the words. Like every chapter is a conversation between two or more people, two or four people max. But there's so much going on. The way Herbert is describing like random things. It's really good. Um, I don't know where to start, but the way I would describe it, it's like Game of Thrones in space.
Hmm.
Um, do you know the premise of the story?
I
The
know
first book?
that it's like they're in space and they're going around and they're in space. That's
Okay.
really it. I know that there
I'll,
was a movie made by David Lynch in the
yes,
90s
which became a cult
and
classic. Actually,
yeah,
I think
and that
80s.
there's this book or maybe late 80s and there's this book.
Yeah.
That's it. And the
Okay.
new movie's coming out with Timothy
Okay.
Chalamet, the Timothy Chalamet as the lead.
You can.
Chalamet, Chalamet, Lula. I think he's
I think I've
Hawaiian.
He probably is. All right. No, so basic premise is that Timothy Chalamet, his character Paul Atreides, the Atreides family has been tasked
Hmm.
to take care of this planet called Arrakis, which is dubbed Dune, which is
Hmm.
a desert planet. Long story short, people start getting killed, blah blah blah, and Paul Atreides has to mingle with the natives of that planet to do something. I don't know what that something is because I've not purposely avoided it. I just never knew what it was about until I started reading this book. I did want to see the original movie that came out in the 80s, but I was like, let me read the book first and then watch that movie because I heard it's a divisive movie. Like people hated it, people loved it. It's a cult classic film. But the one thing I read about was Dennis, the director for the new movie. He said that he took some lessons from the first movie where he should have broken up that movie into two instead of trying to cram all that literature into one movie because I think it's like a 2 hour movie. It's still that's too much. So for this movie that's coming out in about 2 months, I believe that's just going to be part one of the book, which makes sense because it's too much. But it's a great book. It's a great book. If you like Game of Thrones, you like Star Wars, definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. It's a great book.
Yeah,
Almost
I'll probably end up watching that movie. I mean, just for the gigs, just check it
yeah.
out.
It's
But
Oscar Isaac and Shyamalan.
Oscar Isaac's in it too.
Yeah, he plays Paul Atreides' dad. He plays the dad.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And Dave Batista's in it, right?
Yes, he plays some guy who's a badass. He's really cool.
And Zendaya, right?
Yeah, she plays the love interest, Chamey.
Mm.
I don't know if they're gonna change the sounding of that, but yeah, it's very
Chamele.
high. it's very high level concept because
I
it takes place. What were you gonna say?
I thought you said it's very hot, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess so. It's on a
It is a
desert.
desert planet. Yeah. No, no, it's very high. Like it takes place so far in the future where
Hmm.
they disregarded. They call it because it was written in 60. It was published in 65. So computers are called thinking machines. So for like they like don't use computers anymore.
Mm.
So the way they do space travel or like what do you call it? Light speed folding. I'm using final space, but
Lightspeed,
yeah, light speed travel. They
zoomy
because in
zooms.
order yeah in order to like put your destination in, you need a like accurate like because if you don't have an accurate destination, you just blow up in space. So they have these humans that are, I guess, mutated. Like I think that they mutate their brains, but it mutates their bodies physically. So they're like in a chamber somewhere that do the thinking, which is really cool. Like it's such high level concept. But like,
Wow.
and the reason I know this is because I typed it in because I don't. It was hard for me to picture what these like beings look like. Typed it in, and
Hmm.
came up on like the Wikia page, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. But it's really cool. I love it. I love it so far. And if it's really that good, I might read two and three, which are also big books. But
Hmm.
we'll see.
Well,
We'll
tell
see.
me, tell me how that is, because I definitely won't do that.
I probably have to read other stuff. One of my coworkers, or actually my manager, gave me a book to read, a Star Wars book, and I was like, oh, I got to read this first before that. But I'll get to that later. But yeah, that's what I'm reading. Dune.
Well, cool, man.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like some cool stuff. I'll definitely check out the movie when it comes out and gauge my interest off of that. But I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a cool time. But I think that's it for today, right?
That is it. Yeah,
All right.
I think that's it.
Well, here we are signing off. The Average Jays. This is Jay.
Justin Ruiz. I was gonna say you're gonna say your name. So that's Jay, Justin Ruiz, and I'm
Mhm.
Jay, Jaromir Francois.
There we go. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. See you later.
Tune in next time.